Hello, guys. Today we're going to explain a science fiction fantasy movie called Pacific Rim. We always thought that monsters or aliens would come to Earth from the sky, but we were wrong. This time, they came from the depths of the ocean, where a portal was formed. Through this portal, creatures from another world, known as Kaiju, began entering our world, wreaking havoc everywhere. Cities were destroyed, and chaos ensued. Our military tried to stop them but failed, as these creatures were massive and kept coming one after another. To combat this threat, all the nations of the world set aside their differences and united to save humanity. Together, they created a program to fight these monsters by building enormous robots, known as Jaegers, which could be piloted to battle the Kaiju. However, one person's mind wasn't enough to operate such a giant machine. That's why the Jaegers required two pilots whose minds would be connected to function as one. The story begins with Raleigh and his brother Yancey, who are called into action when a kaiju attacks. They prepare themselves and get inside their Jaeger, named Gypsy Danger, where they first connect their minds and then integrate with the robot. Soon, they are informed of the kaiju's location by their commander, Marshal Stacker Pentecost. The Jaeger heads into the stormy ocean, almost as if it were diving into a swimming pool. In the sea, they encounter a large ship in danger, with a kaiju looming nearby. The Jaeger lifts the ship and moves it to safety before engaging the monster. The battle is fierce. The kaiju grabs the Jaeger's arm, but Raleigh and Yancey counterattack with their laser cannon, killing it. However, as they prepare to return, the kaiju suddenly strikes back. It severely damages the Jaeger and even manages to break into the cockpit, killing Yancey. Devastated but determined, Raleigh continues to fight, controlling the Jaeger alone, which is extremely difficult. He uses the remaining weapons to finally kill the kaiju, but the effort exhausts him. He manages to bring the damaged Jaeger to the shore, but collapses from the strain. Operating such a giant machine with a single mind is nearly impossible. The story jumps ahead 5 years. We learn that kaiju attacks have increased significantly, with the creatures evolving into more powerful forms. The government decides to shut down the Jaeger program, believing that building massive coastal walls will protect the cities instead. Marshal Stacker disagrees, arguing that the walls won't hold, but the decision is made to give the program only 8 more months. Meanwhile, Raleigh, who has left the Jaeger program, is working on one of the walls. He sees on the news that a kaiju has breached a wall and entered the city. However, a new Jaeger, Striker Eureka, intercepts and kills the kaiju before it causes more destruction. Marshal Stacker then visits Raleigh and informs him that Gypsy Danger has been repaired and that they need him back as a pilot. Initially, Raleigh refuses, haunted by his brother's death. He explains that when his brother died, their minds were still connected, and he felt the pain of his death as if it were his own. However, Stacker persuades him by asking where he preferred to die, hiding behind a wall or fighting for humanity in a Jaeger. Reluctantly, Raleigh agrees. And thus the story unfolds as humanity's final battle against the kaiju approaches, with the fate of the world hanging in the balance. He goes with Marshall, who takes him to their base. There, Marshall introduces him to Mako and later to the research team, which includes Dr. Newton Geisler and Dr. Herman Gottlieb. Inside the base, Marshall explains that only 3 Jaegers are left out of the original 30. Additionally, they have upgraded and made Raleigh's Jaeger, Gypsy Danger, more powerful and efficient than before. Raleigh is happy to reunite with his old comrades after so many years. Marshall then goes to meet the research team. Dr. Gottlieb explains, "This is our world, and below it is the kaiju's world. The 2 worlds are connected by a rift or portal. If we can reach this portal and drop a nuclear bomb into it, the explosion will destroy the rift, preventing the kaiju from entering our world." However, Dr. Newton disagrees, saying, "That won't be enough. I've discovered that all kaiju share the same DNA. By connecting my mind to a fragment of a kaiju brain, I can gather more information. It's similar to the mental link that 2 Jaeger pilots share." Marshall warns him, Such a mental connection would be too overwhelming for the human mind to handle. Meanwhile, Marshall organizes a test to find a co-pilot for Raleigh, as he cannot operate Gypsy Danger alone. During the test, Mako proves to be highly skilled, and Raleigh is unable to defeat her. Impressed, Raleigh insists that Mako should be his partner. However, Marshall refuses, saying that Mako cannot be his co-pilot. Despite Marshall's warning, Dr. Newton goes ahead and mentally connects with the Kaiju brain fragment. During the connection, he discovers that the Kaiju are merely puppets controlled by their creators, who send them into our world to cause destruction. Once humanity is eradicated, the creators plan to take over the Earth. Dr. Newton shares this information with Marshall, explaining, "I was right. The Kaiju are part of a larger invasion plan. To get more details about the portal, I need to connect with a fresh Kaiju brain." At this point, news arrives that 2 new Kaiju have appeared. Marshall sends 3 Jaegers to confront them, but instructs Striker Eureka to stay back, as it is the only Jaeger equipped to carry the nuclear bomb into the portal. The 3 Jaegers head to Hong Kong's coastline and engage the Kaiju. A fierce battle ensues. One of the Kaiju attacks and throws a Jaeger aside with its tail. It then targets the 3-pilot Jaeger, destroying its cockpit and killing all 3 pilots. The Jaeger is completely destroyed. Another Jaeger steps in to fight, but the Kaiju spits a corrosive chemical, melting the Jaeger. Both its pilots are killed. At this point, Striker Eureka moves forward to assist, but a second Kaiju emerges from the water. Together, the 2 Kaiju destroy the remaining Jaeger, killing its pilots as well. Striker Eureka manages to grab one of the Kaiju and throw it away, launching a powerful counterattack. However, the second Kaiju releases an electromagnetic pulse, EMP, disabling all digital equipment, including the Jaegers. Striker Eureka is left powerless, unable to move, while one of the Kaiju begins wreaking havoc in the city. Back at the base, the technical team struggles to reconnect with Striker Eureka, but the EMP has rendered all digital systems inoperable. Raleigh then reminds them, Mark III, Gypsy Danger, isn't digital. It's powered by a nuclear reactor. Hearing this, Marshall sends Raleigh and Mako in Gypsy Danger to assist Striker Eureka. Raleigh and Mako quickly prepare and take Gypsy Danger into action, ready to face the Kaiju and save the city. The Jaeger begins fighting the Kaiju, but the Kaiju lifts it and throws it onto the shore before stepping out of the water itself. However, Gypsy Danger launches a powerful attack, delivering a massive blow followed by a power punch. It grabs a container and slams it against the Kaiju's jaws. The Kaiju retaliates, but Gypsy Danger finishes it off with its plasma cannon. Meanwhile, the second Kaiju, which has entered the city, starts searching for Dr. Newton because of his mental link with the Kaiju brain. The Kaiju has come specifically for him. Just then, Gypsy Danger makes a heroic entry and begins attacking the Kaiju with a massive ship as a weapon. The Kaiju fights back and throws the Jaeger aside before disappearing. Gypsy Danger searches for the Kaiju, but it suddenly reappears and attacks. The Jaeger avoids its chemical attack and grabs the Kaiju, pulling its tongue out of its mouth. The Kaiju fights back, grabbing Gypsy Danger and flying into the sky with its wings. It ascends to a great height, but Gypsy Danger draws its sword and slices the Kaiju in half midair. As the Jaeger falls rapidly back to the ground, it uses its chest blaster to slow its descent and crash land safely. Despite the fall, Gypsy Danger remains intact, showcasing its immense power. When Raleigh and Mako return to the base, everyone celebrates their victory. However, Marshall reminds them, the war isn't over yet. They will attack again. We need to close the portal once and for all. Meanwhile, Dr. Newton approaches the dead Kaiju, only to discover that it was pregnant. A baby Kaiju emerges but soon dies. Newton and Gottlieb prepare to connect to the brain of the dead Kaiju to gather more information. Back at the base, Marshall informs Chuck that he will serve as his co-pilot, and together they will take the nuclear bomb into the portal. Raleigh and Mako in Gypsy Danger will provide cover. The 2 Jaegers head into the ocean toward the portal. At the same time, Newton and Gottlieb connect to the Kaiju brain and discover how the portal operates. They realize that the portal only allows Kaiju or entities with Kaiju DNA to pass through. Newton rushes back to inform the team, saying, "Your plan won't work. You can't drop the bomb into the portal because it won't pass through. You'll need to go inside with the Kaiju." As the Jaegers approach the portal, two Kaiju emerge from it. Newton and Gottlieb return to the base and inform the team of their findings. Suddenly, a third Kaiju, the largest they've ever seen, and a Category 5, emerges from the portal. This massive Kaiju attacks Striker Eureka, while one of the other Kaiju targets Gypsy Danger. Gypsy Danger grabs the Kaiju and is about to finish it off with its sword, but the third Kaiju intervenes, breaking Gypsy Danger's arm. However, the Jaeger uses its other arm to drive its sword into the Kaiju's head. When the second Kaiju charges at Gypsy Danger, it slices it in half with its sword. Inside Striker Eureka, Chuck informs Marshall that the bomb cannot be deployed because the trigger has malfunctioned. The massive Kaiju attacks again, but the Jaeger uses both of its swords to injure the Kaiju, stabbing it in its shoulders. Severely wounded, the Kaiju begins calling for reinforcements. Both Kaiju start advancing towards Striker Eureka, while we see that Gypsy Danger has one of its arms and legs completely damaged. Despite this, it moves forward to protect Striker Eureka. However, Marshall tells Riley, "Don't come to us. Stay where you are. Your Jaeger is essentially a walking nuclear bomb. We'll clear the path for you, and you must take Gypsy Danger into the portal." In a heroic act, Marshall and Chuck sacrifice themselves by detonating the nuclear bomb on Striker Eureka, killing the two Kaiju and creating a massive explosion. The path is now clear for Gypsy Danger. Raleigh and Mako move toward the portal, carrying one of the dead Kaiju. However, the massive Category 5 Kaiju, still alive, emerges in their way. They summon all their strength, grab the Kaiju, and dive into the portal with it. The Kaiju tries to destroy the Jaeger, but Gypsy Danger kills it using its chest blaster. The portal to the other world opens, and Gypsy Danger enters the Kaiju's realm, the alien world from where the Kaiju are being sent to Earth. However, Mako runs out of oxygen, so Raleigh places her in an escape pod and ejects her towards safety. As Raleigh continues descending into the alien world, he activates the nuclear bomb in the Jaeger, setting it to detonate in 60 seconds. He catches a glimpse of the aliens who created the Kaiju and sent them to Earth. Raleigh then ejects himself in an escape pod just in time. The nuclear bomb explodes with an enormous blast, killing all the aliens and destroying the portal. Mako's pod surfaces safely above the water, and she emerges alive. Shortly afterward, Raleigh's pod also surfaces. Mako rushes to open it, and both of them are revealed to be safe. Back at the base, the team is informed that the portal has been closed, and the war is finally over. Everyone celebrates the victory. Helicopters arrive to pick up Raleigh and Mako, and the movie concludes on a triumphant note. However, stay tuned for part 2, which will be discussed in a future video. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like it and leave a comment telling us what you thought of the movie. And before you go, make sure to subscribe to our channel, press the bell icon, and enable notifications to stay updated with more amazing videos. See you in the next video.